Hello, I'm General Waffles with Breakfast Brigade. Today got a rank 1 hero match featuring Nazeebo. Nazeebo has always been one of my favorite characters. He was my favorite character to play in Diablo 3. And that's why I really loved the Pet Doctor, because all you did in Diablo 3 was just build a bunch of pets and they did all the work for you, and it was actually kind of funny. That's kind of what you do here. You throw spiders, you throw zombies, you throw toads. The build has changed over the course of the game, of course, where before Ravenous Spirit was the go-to end-all be-all, you needed to pick that up or else you were bad and people would make fun of you and tell you about how you should uninstall, etc., etc. But now you got a choice between Gargantua and Ravenous Spirit. They're both pretty good. Ravenous Spirit, not as ridiculous as it used to be, but still does a lot of AoE damage. Now, you did lose some things. You did lose the sprint at level 13, and that was... well, you just got out of every situation. But you were given things from the deep, which extends your basic abilities. Cast range. So you can cast your spiders, your zombie walls, and your toads further back, meaning that you don't have to be as far up as you used to be. Now this is actually, I'm going to be picking up this game because I love that ability. I think it's one of the best abilities on Nazeebo currently. And Gidbin took some hits and is not as good as it used to be. Doesn't affect toads anymore. And it's not bad, it's just the toad affinity will be better. Now in the early game, all I want to do is focus on getting stacks. I want to make sure I'm constantly getting stacks of my death ritual up throughout the entire course of the game, strictly because you get more health and mana. If you do not do this, if you do not make this a focus, you will run out of mana in team fights and you'll be easily bursted. But if you can get really good at that, you're fairly tanky. You can actually out-health a lot of warriors. But like Diablo, you can have more health in Diablo if you stack up properly. But that's only if you're doing like double soak lanes. But since it is an infinitely scaling ability, the longer the game goes on, the more tanky you will become. Now the first shrine is spawning, and I've been told, I've not looked this up, but I've been told that this map is getting some balance changes. And Leoric as well. Well, that's good to hear. So Nazeebo not exactly the best at clearing these. Nazeebo is just really good at, well, kind of just throwing out damage over time. Which, since they have Uther, it's actually okay. Someone like Lily can usually keep up with Nazeebo because all of his damage is over time. But someone like Uther has to pick who he wants to give that big heal to, and it has a fairly long cooldown. Picking up Spider Cluster, it's just not worth it to go with the Gathering Power anymore. It's too hard to stack up, and it's too hard to keep the stacks. And this is a ranked game, so I am trying to win, as I usually am. Something note, Zeratul in the bush. Something note, your death ritual talent that you choose at level 1, which you should be choosing every game, does not work with mercenaries that you're capturing, and it doesn't work with objective minions. So I cannot get stacks off of these little skeletons. I don't know what they're actually called. So I'm in these fights, I'm trying to contribute, but I have very little mana. So I want to save my mana for something important. And I just want to be in this lane trying to get stacks because that will give me mana back, because of your passive will give you mana back every time that a minion with your poison trait on it dies. So if you run out of mana in a team fight, but you still feel like you can contribute, try to attack some minions and try to kill them, and you'll restore your mana and health. Now, even if it's just a little bit, you're still building those death ritual stacks on top of it, and it makes it really worth it, instead of going back. Now here we got the Frozen Punisher, and it's pushing the top lane. This is one of the things I was told was going to be fixed, is that unavoidable AoE stun. I really don't know who thought that was a good idea to give to an objective minion, or anything. Normally, in games like this, a lot of things can be mitigated by skill. But when you make something literally undodgeable, it takes the entire human component out of it, and it just punishes players for being near something. Yeah, but I'm not going to carry on too much about that. So here I went to the middle lane instead of reinforcing that push because the first Immortal spawn, the first Shrine Guardian spawned, what have you, is not very powerful. They come out early and you have to team fight for them early, but they don't have a lot of health or tankiness, so a lot of times they can just die really quickly. So you want to fan your team out a bit to soak the other lanes, especially if the other team is doing that as well. However, if the enemy team decides to split up, you may be able to get up to a fort, but it's doubtful you'll be able to take a fort without putting in serious effort yourself. Now here I just walked in the wrong direction. I should not have been in that position, and now I'm just forced to fight and try to live. Lily keep me alive longer than I should have, and my dumb decisions, my dumb positioning caught up to me a little bit. So that dying as Nazeebo in the early game is a lot worse than dying as a lot of other heroes, simply because not only are you missing experience for your team, not only are you giving the enemy team experience from your death, but you're missing out on those death ritual stacks. And that is the reason why you're tanky, and that is the reason why you have mana. Like, trying to operate without that talent is so difficult. So not being able to stack it up is kind of like not having it sometimes. So here, just using a lot of my abilities on the minions, waiting for the team to come up. I knew they'd be back up thanks to the Toad Affinity. Zeratul not going to be able to do too much. Lily healing me whether she wants to or not because Zeratul did damage to me. And now I'm just staying in the back. I don't want to push forward against their team. Their team's scary. And we have a lot of targets, such as Raynor or Vala, that are more pressing. Nazeebo, it's really hard to understand how much damage he's doing to your team until you look at the scoreboard. Because it's all over time, and it's all in like little bits. And a lot of it's AoE. So he does a deceptively high amount of damage. However, someone like Jim Raynor, it's very apparent what he does, so a lot of people want to go for him. Plus he's an assassin, and he's squishy. Vala as well, she's even squishier. However, because they did end up getting the Punisher simply because they have superior AoE clearing, and they're able to kill the minions before us. So because we have a big fatty Murda, and they don't have a ton of mobility, like Zeratul's their big mobility guy, and he's mostly been I would think that he'd mostly be focusing on Vala. So their big interrupts are Kel'Thas, Uther, and Zeratul's Void Prison, and I feel like I can get away with using Ravenous Spirit in this game because of that, because Uther is the most likely person to knock me out of it, and I don't feel like he's going to be near me because we have a lot of damage and a lot of backline, so Uther moving up would be really dangerous for him, and it's probably wouldn't be worth it just to stop my Ravenous Spirit. It's going to be mostly up to Zeratul to hold me down on that, and that's what I'm counting on. I want Zeratul to be after me instead of someone like Vala, because Nazeebo is a lot tankier, and I know I can survive the burst of Zeratul at least once. Especially when we're ahead like this. So, I would say that Ravenous Spirit is more of a win more ability. It's kind of hard to utilize to come back, simply because you have to stay still and you can't cast anything else. So it relies on your team having good positioning and the enemy team not being able to get to you. So since we are winning, it's fine to go with a win more ability. The Gargantuan is solid, but it doesn't provide that AoE damage that our team is really lacking. Like, we have good single target with Vala and Raynor, and with Strafe, that's yet another really good ability that wants to be interrupted and is AoE. So I have a lot of protection. Top temples are spawning and moving up there to help defend with the team. Again, staying in the way back. I end up getting caught up in this Void Prison that I don't know if he did that strictly to put me in it, but it didn't really do anything. And then I can just Ravenous Spirit. You can see there's no one near me. Zeratul just jumps in on me. I panic a little bit, but my Ravenous Spirit has pretty much run its course. And now there's Johanna coming out of the bushes, and I'm just running from Zeratul because now I've gotten to the point where he can kill me. And we are being forced out. Raynor did die. Fala did die as well. And that's kind of what I've been counting on this whole game, is them being focused more than me. Zombie Wall didn't do anything, it was just improperly placed. And here, you can see the power of the Arcane Punisher. Like, the Mortar Punisher is like a joke compared to the Arcane Punisher and the Frozen and the Frozen Punisher. It just doesn't do like hardly enough. But there, the AoE stun was able to lock down the team, and they were able to push in towards me. The crowd control was able to hold me down. You can just see how unfair that was. Our team had really no chance to react to that Punisher jump down top of us. And then we were able to be comboed down. Like, even if we had the chance, we didn't have the mobility, even if there was a delay. But right there, no chance to escape it. Just complaining a little bit in chat. That's what else am I supposed to do? Not complain. So, things from the deep. I love this ability. I think this is like the best thing that he got. I think it's one of his best talents available, other than his level 1 talent and possibly Leaping Spiders. Leaping Spiders are really good. But the ability to have 25% more range on your abilities is huge, because Nazeebo's big problem before, and why he needed Sprint, is because you'd have to get in fairly close to get in those auto attacks and those good zombie walls. But now you can cast zombie walls from further away, so you're not in as much danger. So Sprint is no longer necessary. I see some people pick up Ice Block, but I think that's a mistake on Nazeebo, because Nazeebo, you want to stay mobile as much as possible, because you don't have escapes. So you always want to be away from where the enemy is, but keeping them in your range. Now once I pick up Leaping Spiders, that's Nazeebo's big power boon. Those Leaping Spiders will just stick to enemies and be able to do their damage. Like, the damage increase is nice, but the ability for them to stick onto enemy heroes is the real go-to on what Leaping Spiders gives you. And since I did pick up that extra spider sack, extra spiders is extra damage. It'll actually come into play where you see the big strength of Leaping Spiders. But I'm sure if you play this game, you know how obnoxious it is to have Leaping Spiders thrown at you. Because there's not really anything you can do. It's not like Zagara's Hydralisk, which does a lot more damage, mind you. That can be killed. You can't kill Leaping Spiders, and you can't mitigate their damage. You can only heal it and shield through it. Here, Leoric pushing up will be taken down, and then I just Ravenous Spirit their team. Uther stays alive for a while, and that Void Prison will save Kel'Thas for just a moment, and I am able to throw in the Leaping Spiders. Now, these Void Prisons have not been the most effective. And because we got 3 members down, I just go and start using abilities in the bottom lane. Not only to get pushing, but really just for the stacks. Toad Affinity, making it so my toads are really cheap, and also their cooldown is almost non-existent. 3-second cooldown for Plague of Toads is really good, especially when it doesn't cost any mana. Their Zombie Wall did catch the Joanna. Leoric dies again as well. And we do get the Mortar Punisher. So I again move in, trying to put my passive on as many things as possible. Pick up Leaping Spiders because, again, this talent is phenomenal. You can pick other talents, but you'll probably be lacking in a ranked setting if you do so. In Quick Match, I really love the Corpse Spiders spawning from the Plague of Toads as well. It's a good talent for a split pushing mode. So with this Mortar Punisher, it's reaching the point where it's becoming fairly tanky and a big problem. And the Mortar Punisher, although it's fairly weak for its effect, still doing some work. Zeratul trying to come up behind us, but the team is in a defensive format, so Zeratul can't get anything done. Jim Raynor finally rejoined the party, and now the Hyperion will come in to push everything down. The Yamada Cannon doing so much structure damage. I warned that Zeratul's trying to sneak in the back line. He's not going to be able to do anything. We have too much backline for him to handle. Ravenous Spirit going out is going to do a lot of damage. Uther will stay alive simply because of his healing. we were forced to let him get away. Even with Murd in there, it was not enough to bring him down. However, with these zombies, we are able to push this fort down the rest of the way with ease and just walk away. Leoric will return, and that's no big surprise. Just telling the team good job. It's always good to be positive to your team when you can. Yeah, you don't want games where everyone's yelling at each other. Those aren't fun. Even if you win those games, they're not fun. And the majority of the reason that I play this game is to have fun. So here, just taking up these siege camps. The siege camps in the Diablo maps are fairly annoying because they make it so you can't use bribe very well. And a lot of characters, no character really relies on bribe. It's just a little annoyance that you can't use it to just instantly take a camp, like in all the other maps in the game. But here we do have that almost 3 level advantage now. It's about 2 solid level advantage. And we're just waiting for the next temple to spawn. Not too much that we can do. Murden just going and showing his superiority. Kel'Thas ends up ulting, so we just walk away from that. It is a very short ultimate, but him not having that for the upcoming temple shrine is really bad for his team. That's a really good zoning ability that they have, while we have the Hyperion. So the Void Prison does go down and locks down all of our assassins, and Murden will be able to jump away. So all in all, it wasn't a big deal. They do clump up, and the combined AoE damage. Ravenous Spirit does a whole lot of damage to their team. Here, Uther thinks he's going to get away, but Leaping Spiders. This is why you pick it up. Rest in peace, Uther. It's right there. You can just see the power of them being able to catch up to Uther and stick on to him. Kel'Thas, he would die to the spiders, but I believe he died to the Hungering Arrow instead. Still a phenomenal ability just for that reason. Even if it didn't have a damage increase, I think it would still be picked. So now, I've never really needed to use Blink, and I don't feel like I do. I feel like we need to close out this game faster. So I pick up the Annihilating Spirit. It makes a Ravenous Spirit a lot better. Move faster so you can keep up with people or catch up to people that have already run away. There I throw the spiders behind the wall so that they attack the heroes instead of the structures. But really, when it comes down to it, Annihilating Spirit currently is a win more ability. And since we're winning very decisively, it's a good idea to pick it up just to close out the game faster. Going into late game, it may be a problem that I don't have a mobility skill, but it won't matter in this if we just win right here. Annihilating Spirit going out, doing all that damage. Kel'Thas will live through it for... Look at that. That was funny. Uther and Kel'Thas' shield was able to help. But it wasn't able to keep him alive to win the game. It's a good game, Nazeebo. I think that the overlay is going to lie to you and say that I'm at rank 2. That is not the case. Yeah. Overlay also has said that I'm at rank 99 and rank 100 and some other things. So I don't really know. There I am. Yep, rank 1. Just check the stats. As you can see, I had the highest hero damage. It's very deceptive to see from the enemy team standpoint. But that's going to be it for this video. Till next time.